is up? What is up? We are back. I guess we black. We ain't whack. What is going on? Another day, another 10 cents. If you black. If you white, another $450 an hour. Another 10 cents for black folks. Shout out to everybody that's out there. Man, we finally getting through this motherfucking week. Man. Shout out to everybody that's at the corporate plantation as we speak. Hustling, grinding, handling business, doing what you need to do to survive. Shout out to everybody that's out there making a way out of no way, as they talk about. Shout out to everybody that's, preparing to get ready to go into this weekend and go to the corporate plantation or do what they need to do. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to all my melanated brothers and sisters that is trying to keep themselves from slapping the shit out of a goddamn dominant white society motherfucker at the motherfucking clown ass corporate plantation. I know how that shit works. Trust me. Trust and believe you me. It takes an act of a black god to jump into your mental space to get you not to react but to respond to the anti-black racism that goes on at your corporate plantation. So shout out to everybody that's out there handling business. Shout out to all the motherfuckers that's out there that's finessing as it is. Shout out to all you begging ass niggas that's at the corporate plantation. There's a lot of begging niggas too. A lot of niggas that be begging and shit. Just like I said, niggas just can't wait to see you and question you to death about what you got going on so they can beg for some goddamn money. So shout out to all you begging ass niggas too. Shout out to all my bitches that's out there that want to, live free. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it. Fuck this COVID shit. I'm still trying to make some money. I got to sell this pussy. Shout out to all you out there too. There's plenty of y'all motherfuckers out there too. So shout out to all y'all. Shout out to all the niggas out there that's buying pussy. Me too. I'll buy it. I need to see the Carfax before I buy that pussy, but I'll buy it though. Shit. No problem in this motherfucker. I got my money. Shit. You take Cash App and Venmo and Zelle, but I just gotta see those Carfax on that pussy first. So shout out to all you motherfuckers that's out there. And shout out to all the motherfuckers that's out there that's reading, still learning, as you see me, and know these books are not props. I've actually read these motherfuckers. Motherfuckers be lying and shit. Acting like niggas be having props. Niggas be like, shit, nigga, all you gotta do is read this. So what that book talking about? Man, then nigga gotta flick through the book. Look, no, nigga. I actually read these books. Shit. Shout out to everybody that's I would say still learning, questing for knowledge, understanding what the knowledge is, and trying to use that knowledge for good, not for evil. A lot of motherfuckers that's out there doing that shit. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to all the motherfuckers that's battling anti-black racism every day. There's plenty of y'all motherfuckers out there. If you don't get the knowledge, you can't fight it efficiently. And shout out to motherfuckers. And shout out to all my melanated brothers and sisters that got their own businesses and they side hustle aside from the corporate plantation. So shout out to all y'all. And a special shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. You know what I'm saying? I always got to give him props. Black Labor White Wealth. Go check that out. That's him on the back. Black Labor White Wealth. Black History Reader. So go check him out. So shout out to everybody that's reading the books. I just got in. I got five new books in today. Propaganda by Edward Bernays. Breaking Rank by Norm Stamper. Never Caught. The Golden Trade of the Moors. I got them sitting over there on my table. So shout out to everybody. I'm excited to read those books. I'm still reading The Destruction of a Black Civilization. Oh, what's up, Tasha? I see you. You said watch it on your new smart TV? Okay, shit. My TVs is old. Nigga, I get a TV when my shit's died. When I try to turn on the power and they be like, when my TVs get COVID, that's when I get a new one. Look at that. But shout out to everybody that's handling business and shit. We're going to talk about a lot of things, a lot of shit that's going on that we're going to discuss, but I'm still going to stay on topic. And we are going to still keep talking about the U.S. Capitol and all the vigilante, white supremacists, anti-black racist motherfuckers that use their white privilege to walk into that goddamn U.S. Capitol, do what the fuck they want to do, and now there's getting charges pressed on them. But I don't give a fuck about the charges. They need to do jail time. So we're gonna get into that today. We're gonna get into the face of white supremacy because they're trying to paint this picture and frame this picture that Donald Trump is the face. No, he's not the leader. See, white supremacy is a team sport. We will be getting into that today. And shout out to everybody that understands how racism and white supremacy works. And if you read the Maximum Compensatory Counter-Racist Code of Ethics by Neely Fuller Jr., you would know that I am still learning. And we about to get into it. Hey. Man. Cut that shit down. For real. I'm glad I hope everybody is alive and well and handling business. Shout out to Shawnee, Wendy, all the people that's handling business. I already know how it is. Man. There's so much shit to get into. But before we get into that, I always got to speak on the corporate plantation. Look, man, everybody got to really understand right now, you're in a global system of racism and white supremacy, as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talks about. And you have to understand that shit transfers to the job too. So you have to become introverted. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of times we be thinking that every other racial group is our friend. And you need to understand that we have no allies, we have no friends in the system of racism and white supremacy. It is everyone for themselves. And if you do not replicate the behavior, the conformist go along to get along behavior, you're going to be deemed the enemy. You're going to be deemed the bad person. You're going to be public enemy number one. Look, stop letting that get to you. Go to that corporate plantation, get your paycheck, and get the fuck on. Stop going to these corporate plantations thinking that you owe more than what you're giving, and that if they don't like you, then, oh, woe is me, and what am I going to do? It's not meant for them to like you. And as Dr. Claude Anderson teaches, if you're black in white America and you're going to a job, you should be mad. If your ancestors built this country, why would you not be mad? That now a motherfucker done put this narrative, painted this picture, framed the picture that black people are lazy. How can we be lazy? We built the country. These are just things you need to think about. You need to recite or learn Dirty Bookman's prayer. I always talk about how he says their God asked them to commit crimes. That basically, how could their God be our God? We need to replace and throw away the image of the white man's God, because that is not our God. And that's the problem. And that's why when you go to these corporate plantations, you see so much buck dancing, boot licking, tell them about the gun line, Steve from Django, Sambo, Hayward Shepherd motherfuckers, because we are expecting and waiting for them to give us the pat on the head. And I'll tell you this over and over again. Stop explaining to every other racial group with racism and white supremacy. They know what it is. Let me tell you something. Anytime you look at any other racial group, they can tote their Puerto Rican flag, their Cuban flag, their Guatemalan flag, whatever flag that they have, they can tote that flag. But what behavior do they replicate when they get on that corporate plantation? They replicate the dominant white society's behavior, their characteristics, their mentality, and their belief system. So stop thinking that because they're a different racial group, they're woo-de-woo, so they're not racist. No. If they're not telling us what is being said in the room, like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing teaches us, then they're complicit in the behavior of racism and white supremacy. And stop letting that bother you and hurt your feelings, because you should already be prepared for that. That's why you got to read and research, understand how this shit works. It is a global system. It is a team sport. They dominate 9 areas of activity. You already know what it is. So we need to stop putting these great expectations on all these other racial groups, thinking that they are going to somehow, some way be different from the average dominant white society person. See, we think because a person get around you and they can speak your lingo, that somehow, some way they're not somehow complicit in racism and white supremacy. But if they're replicating that behavior, if they are conducting themselves just like the dominant white society, then they are just as bad, if not worse. So those type of people, you have to move aside and study, read, understand what it is. Like I said, you're nothing more. I always talk about the corporate plantation. You are nothing more but corporate wallpaper if you are black in corporate America. The corporate plantation, you are nothing but corporate wallpaper. These people are not your friends. These people don't give a fuck if you progress. It is not their goal for you to progress unless it's under the guise and leadership and tutelage of them, which means they're the governor of your success. So they give you the narrative. That's why it's like playing a game that you know is rigged. If you know it's rigged, then if you have to play it and you know it's rigged, you play it accordingly. That don't mean you get all caught up and be all emotional about it. No, you play your position. And you take notes, you take stock and inventory of what's going on, you move on. Don't let these people get you all riled up, because this is what's going on. If y'all notice, I'll keep saying it to this day. Why ain't no Caucasians talking about them raid and running up in the U.S. Capitol? You know why? Because it's their people. And they don't want to admit that what those white folks did was against the Constitution. Their Constitution, allegedly, was a terrorist act. They don't want to admit any of that. That's why nobody white, for the most part, is not talking to you about that. You know why? Because those people agree. That's why now you're starting to see all these firefighters and all these ex-policemen that were at the rally, that stormed the Capitol. Now motherfuckers starting to air the shit out there, because now what is happening is, in my personal opinion, the Democratic Party, especially the Democratic Party, should be getting more flack for this, because they try to act like they know what's going on. But the FBI, the Capitol, they all knew. You had Capitol Police helping those people. But then, if you protest in New York or you protest anywhere else, they throwing tear gas on you and flash bombs. And even if you even point at a motherfucking police officer the wrong way, guilty nigga, you going to jail. But these motherfuckers can storm the Capitol and do all this other stuff. It's just like being on the corporate plantation. You can see a dominant white society person do black tar heroin in the bathroom, and it's 20 degrees below zero, and they are sweating like a pedophile at a kindergarten graduation. And everybody act like none of it is going on. They could be the biggest fuck up in captivity, but let a nigga go on there and fuck up one time. Oh, you're not acting a certain way. You're not doing a certain way. When you're black and you're on the corporate plantation, you need to understand this is the United States of America Incorporated, that is ran by the dominant white society. Why do you ever think that they care about your perspective and they're going to treat you different because maybe you have education or maybe you talk their language? That doesn't mean they're going to treat you any different. They're going to be cool with you until you say things that is oppositional and contrary to their belief system. Then it's like, all right, nigga, you getting out of control. Shut it up. So y'all got to remember that, man. People have to have a better understanding of what the fuck is going on, man. Straight up. And the reason why I say it a lot, and I tell people, I only tell certain people, man, because a lot of the times when you're on a corporate plantation and you talking to people, man, especially people that you think that have your skin is your kin, and they really not, because those will be the main motherfuckers running up and telling because they trying to get a pat on the head. And then you can't expect any other racial group. First of all, every other racial group takes pride in using us as a punching bag, a doormat. They like that shit. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't replicate the behavior that they see. So what you got to do is you got to just step back, watch, move aside, move ahead, and go on about your way. Learn how to start a business. Learn how to use your intellectual property for you to gain, I would say, more insight and more cash, and get more cash flow on the outskirts of the corporate plantation. Use that intellectual property so you can get you some motherfucking revenue. You can generate revenue another type of way. Don't go into the corporate. Look, I tell you like this. A lot of motherfuckers go into corporate plantation thinking that that's going to be their savior and that's going to get them rich. Dr. Claude Anderson teaches that you are not going to get rich working at a corporate plantation. You're not going to get rich. A job is meant to maintain you. It's not to make you rich. That's why they pay you just enough so you keep coming back. It's just a lot of us have been socialized to go to school to get a good job, so then you can pay back into the system. That's why I would say I go a lot more harder on black churches than I do everywhere else, because black churches are complicit in anti-black racism. Why, Warren? Because black churches are not teaching black folk how to combat the system of racism, white supremacy, and establish a system of justice. I'm just saying, we can say whatever we want, but it is what it is. Those are just things you got to learn on your own. And you don't learn the shit and then take it back to the church you went to and start talking shit to them. No, nigga. What are you going to do to change it? You're supposed to take the information and use it to the best of your abilities. You don't take the knowledge and try to go back to the church or go back to, for what? You're just wasting time. Use that shit in your everyday life. Use it to better your situation. Not to try to go back. For what? What are you doing it for? You wasting time. Nigga, you got to get over it now. Now it's just time for you to move on and handle business. It's just, I'm tired of watching my black folk. You get on these core plantations, you politic, and you become a conformist, a go along to get along. And we all do. We all do at one point, because there's a lot of things that we don't agree with, that we got to go with because we need a paycheck. The first rule of the game is survival. And if you don't know how to provide for yourself outside of the core plantation, you're fucked. So you got to be there. That's what I'm learning every day about starting my own business, coming up with my own stream of revenue and doing things differently than what I've done in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's just fucked up now, motherfucker. You get a passport, now you can't even travel and go see it with different parts of the world. It's like, damn, it's fucked up. So it's like, now it's the time for black businesses really should be striving right now. You know what I'm saying? Conscious is at an all-time high. So motherfuckers need to stop taking conscious and making money off that shit and taking conscious and spreading that dollar to black businesses and promoting them and patronizing them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a part of group economics, black empowerment. And that's the thing. Black folk don't want to compete a lot of the times, in my personal opinion, because we so busy being divisive when we get around each other and being in competition, nigga don't even want to work with each other. Man, look. A nigga look at me upside my head when I just go out of my way and say, hey, man, what's going on, brother? Nigga look at me like, man, what up, man? And I'm like, damn, man, I'm just saying what's up. Because we're so socialized to go in and kill, and treat each other fucked up. But then when it comes to the dominant white society, nigga, I just do whatever you want. You know, is that what you want me to do, boss? Nigga started acting like the black nigga in To Kill a Mockingbird. I felt quite sorry for, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. That type of shit. And it's like, damn, man. But then you have all this energy and all, like, that's why I always tell black folk, keep that same energy with the white folk that you in there smiling with. And I'm talking about my people. I'm not talking about any other racial group. It's not about me saving any other racial group. Yeah, I'm cool with all different type of races. My Latino brothers and sisters, my Cubans, my Dominicans, my Puerto Ricans. I'm cool with all of them. But a lot of them tend to replicate the dominant white society and become Cuban coons and Latino coons and Mexican Sambos and shit. It's a lot of them motherfuckers too. That the way they goddamn flag, then they get around the dominant white society, they start acting just, and then start treating you just like you, just like they will treat you just like the white person would treat you. That's why in this system of racism and white supremacy, you need to understand, if you're not being told what's said in the room, then how are they even of any help to you? They're not an ally. Because quite frankly, I've worked on a lot of core plantations. Let me tell you something. Black folks don't have no ally. You put a black person in there, they're just a face. And they gonna treat you more fucked up than the average white person will. In my personal opinion, a lot of anti-black race, they just not confident. And they're so used to having everything at their disposal, and they're so used to having 400 year head start that any black person that gains a little traction, they can't wait to slap them down. That's why if you notice right now, nobody's comparing and contrasting our protests to white folk. White folk went and stormed the goddamn government building and broke in and waving the goddamn Confederate flag. And what they want to do is they want to tie that in to Donald Trump and make him the face. Why? What the fuck has Joe Biden done for black folk besides lock up over 450,000 black folk because of the 94 crime bill with mandatory minimums? How many times I gotta say that shit? So, who is the face? Let me tell you what the face of white supremacy is. The face of white supremacy is everything you see all around you. It's the matrix. It's corporate America. It's the NBA. It's the NFL. It's the stock market. It's everything you participate in knowingly and unknowingly. And don't you ever fucking forget it. Because these people are not your fucking friends. They don't respect you and they laughing at you. And then when you don't get along with your fellow brother and sister, they take part in it a lot of times and they can't wait to sow discord. Why you say that, Warren? Man, as I'm reading The Destruction of a Black Civilization, he basically breaks down like, you know, the Europeans would use mulattoes and use other black folk to go into those different African nations and kingdoms and states, you know, to sow discourse so they can get in there and get their chiefs in there and co-opt the movement, co-opt other black folk. And then all of a sudden now, white folks is running certain parts of Africa. That's why they was using Christianity, and they wanted to get rid of the African religion, the African constitution. The shit is crazy, man. It's fucking bananas. And just to hear of what they were doing in the 1700s and the 1600s and the 1800s and 1900s and see now, it's crazy. It's crazy. So it's like, I don't understand why black folks think that, well, look at what they did when they stormed the Capitol. Well, does that surprise you? It would never surprise me. Like I said, you can go on a job, you can go on a corporate plantation right now, a motherfucker be doing black tar heroin in the bathroom and come out and supervise you and tell you what the fuck you need to be doing, and then you can complain, and then you be the bad guy. Trust and believe you me. The corporate plantation should be used as a tool to pay your bills and handle your business. Not to be going on there politicking and doing all this bullshit. For what? If you already, look, read The Wealth Choice. In The Wealth Choice, there was so many millionaires and billionaires telling Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, like, man, I had to leave that job, man. That's treating me fucked up. I had to start my own fucking business. So what does that tell you? And motherfuckers oh, well, they gonna press charges against them white folk. Yeah, they gonna press charges against them, but are they gonna do any time? That's my question. Are they gonna do any time? You can press charges against them motherfucker all you want, but are they gonna do any time? And let me tell you why, because if they gonna do time, we would know about it already.
More members.
Let's see. And I'll tell you this right now, man. People need to wake up about Kamala and Joe Biden and all this bullshit and marching hand in hand and talking about this is the same bitch that said she was listening to Tupac when she was in college. Tupac's first album wasn't to when?
Of the pro.
Tupac's first album was until what, 90, 91? But you was listening to Tupac in the 80s? Stop lying. If you can't even tell the truth about what you was really doing in college, then why the fuck I would believe anything? Let me tell you something. When a person that isn't a politician, but has characteristics of a politician, and then they full-fledged become one, they let you know all you need to know about them. You just back and let them do their thing. Most politicians crash and burn. Straight up. Let them do their thing. And that's on them. Let them exert and exacerbate all their energy politicking at some corporate plantation. Shit, don't lose no sleep over that shit. Get amongst other black folk. That's your therapy. Talk to them about it. Get it off your chest. Some people say you shouldn't talk about it. I say you should. And then I say you should come up with some type of concept and belief system of how you gonna eventually get away from them motherfuckers so you can do your own thing. See, go watch Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. Very, very good movie. But Jamie Foxx played a taxi cab driver, and in that taxi cab, he had this picture of, you know, his business and where he was gonna go vacation, and that's what kept him motivated. Some people need that. You know what I'm saying? If that's what keeps you motivated, hey man, to each his own. Everybody's different. I'm not saying everybody should be a business owner. If you're gonna go to that corporate plantation, understand what's going on. Understand that the corporate plantation, the NBA, WNBA, the NFL, the MLB, hockey, Hollywood, it's all the same paradigm. It's the same paradigm. It's the same narrative. It's under the same umbrella. They don't do things any differently in Hollywood than they do in corporate America. It's the same shit. The only way you're gonna get things done differently if you start your own shit. Other than that, you gotta play by their rules. And if you know their social game rules, it is what it is. Here, I'm about to play some audio of Mr. Kevin Sealfried or whatever the fuck his name, or Seafried or whatever, the motherfucker that was walking around the Capitol with the goddamn Confederate flag. And I'm playing this because watch how they tie Donald Trump. I haven't even listened to this audio. Watch how I think they're going to tie Donald Trump to all this bullshit that's going on. It's like if Donald Trump got mind control over all these sucker motherfuckers that ran up in the Capitol.
Are now under arrest. of the pro-Trump mob that stormed the Capitol are now under arrest. They are people who became infamous in photos and videos, and now they're facing federal charges. I want to go straight to CNN's Evan Perez. Evan, who has been arrested?
Anna, we have a national roundup happening right now, and among the arrests that they...
But let me tell you something. It's so funny how they're doing a national roundup, but if that would have been black folk saying that they were going to storm the Capitol and get the tripping, they would have shot and probably murdered every single black person. There wouldn't have been nobody that left that place that would have not taken a bullet. That's what I believe. I'm a firm believer of that. If they dropped the bomb, Tulsa, Oklahoma, then what the fuck? If they did it to the move of folks in Philadelphia, they did it to Tulsa, then who the fuck are regular niggas? But you notice they gonna do a roundup to white folk. Oh, and just to let you know, Aunt Becky from Full House, her husband, he don't even want to go to federal prison. He said, could I just do my time at home because of COVID? That's what happens when you got money and you white and you a part of their system. You can kind of like bargain for, like, I really don't want to go to that prison. Could I just do my time at home? Because I kind of don't really want to go and it's COVID, you feel me? That type of shit. That's basically, this is exactly the type of system we in and ain't nobody saying shit. But Bill Cosby is in fucking prison right now because of hearsay. Because a comedian made a joke about him fucking drugging bitches and they took it and ran with it. And all these bitches that committed perjury and perjured themselves went along with it so they can get something. And they put the nigga in prison for that shit. And this nigga 80 years old and Aunt Becky from Full House, Lori Loughlin, and her husband was complicit in cheating and paying to get their daughter into a school that she shouldn't have been going to, that she didn't even want to go to. And then after they got busted and found guilty, the husband says, I kind of don't even really want to fuck with that prison type shit. Like, my nigga, could I just kind of stay home? And I'll just do my time from home because I really don't want to go to prison. That type of shit. Oh, and by the way, what's going on with Ghislaine Maxwell? You notice no one's talking about that, but we talking about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby every chance we get. Where's Harvey Weinstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? Before you gonna wake up and Ghislaine Maxwell ain't gonna do no prison time or nothing. But motherfuckers is steady paying attention to Bill Cosby. But that's how racism and white supremacy works.
Justice Department has now announced is a man by the name of Adam Johnson. He was arrested back home in Florida, and we're expecting that he's going to be appearing in court here in Washington, D.C. Next week. But really, he's one of the ones that you see in those images. He's holding the lectern of the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. Another arrest, a man by the name of Jacob Chansley. He's the one that you see in some of these images with.
But you notice they're not dirtying their collars. They're not tarnishing tarnishing the imagery of these Caucasians. They're not saying, oh, he was, tell us where they work at. Tell us what they do for a living. You're not telling us any of that stuff. You're just kind of breezing over it. Come on, man.
Face paint and a sort of bearskin hat. Another one arrested is Derek Evans, who is a delegate from the House of the House of Delegates in West Virginia.
He's a delegate. So he's a part of the system and was there marching with them. But y'all motherfuckers went to go vote. So y'all did the sucker shit and went to go vote, and you had more elected officials and police officers and firefighters that was up with the shit, marching and breaking into shit and doing the same shit that black folks was doing. But you want to tell me to go vote and all they going to do is, oh, there being charges found against them? Man, stop. How many of these white folk y'all think is going to go and do fair time? None of them. I guarantee you. And I guarantee you it's going to be enough white folks to raise enough money where they all have representation.
A flavor of some of the 17 or so arrests that the federal government, that the federal prosecutors have brought in federal court. There's another 40 or so that are facing charges in the municipal courts or the local courts here in Washington. We're told.
I mean, this white man, this suspected white supremacist, no, he's a white supremacist, West Virginia House of Delegates. But your ass is down there doing that. Man, get the fuck out of here, man.
That this is a nationwide effort now, but really I just want to stop for a minute and despite the carnival atmosphere, some of these images that you're seeing, there is a more serious part of this, and that is, a lot more than the 5 deaths could have resulted from this mob scene. You had a man with a truck full of bombs that was parked outside one of the house buildings just right across the street from the camp.
Okay, then why are y'all not calling them terrorists? That's why I keep talking about this. I'm doing it on purpose because I want anybody listening to this to be like, damn, man, he right. How come they're not calling them terrorists? Domestic terrorists. Not foreign terrorists, but domestic terrorists. How come they're not calling them terrorists? A motherfucker drove up to the Capitol building with a whole bunch of fucking explosives in his truck and was planning on detonating them, and y'all not calling them domestic terrorists? But black folk can't even march peacefully without getting tear gas thrown at us and riot gear and motherfuckers with batons. And man, get the fuck out of here. That's why the majority of the dominant white society, they don't want to talk about that because they know it's wrong. So they just act like it's deflection. I'm just act like I didn't see that shit. That's why if you notice, ain't a single white person gonna ever come up to you and talk about that. Matter of fact, all the other racial groups ain't gonna talk to you about it either. Because trust me, they up with that shit too. Let me tell you something. Anytime, why you think they love Joe Biden? They love Joe Biden because they know Joe Biden is going to benign neglect black folk. They hated Donald Trump because Donald Trump was going to talk shit about every racial group on this planet except white folk. That's why he called it, yeah, it's the China virus. Yes, it's from China, so we're calling it the Chinese virus. And motherfuckers didn't like what he had to say. And then all these Chinese people, oh my God, Donald Trump's racist. I'm looking at them like, in the way y'all treat motherfuckers, hey, get the fuck out of here, man. I don't want to hear that shit. But here's the thing. Why don't we check these Koreans and these motherfuckers that's selling our products to us? Why we don't ever nip that shit in the bud? We don't nip it in the bud because we don't give a fuck. That's why.
Capitol, he was essentially left that truck full of bombs to go attend the Trump rally and then came back.
See, you notice they keep talking about Trump. Now, I'm not a Trump supporter, but you notice they keep trying to make Trump the face of this racist act and this corrupt domestic terroristic act that they committed. They trying to make him the face. So now you can pat your, that's exactly why we voted for Donald Trump. I mean, because Donald Trump is for liberty and justice, right? That's why. That's one side. And then the other side is, see, they committed a terrorist act. So that's why we voted for Joe Biden, because those are the real racists right there. And then they're like, no, we voted for Donald Trump because he's going to make America great again. Well, actually, Ronald Reagan came out with the Make America Great Again, not Donald Trump. And Ronald Reagan was a fucking actor, like Arnold Schwarzenegger was a fucking actor. These dudes are actors, and these women are actors. What about Elizabeth Warren? The bitch said she was Native American, and then they did a DNA test, bitch, you're not Native American. Then all of a sudden she kind of got, oh, well, I thought I was. Then you came out as first you was a Republican, but she knew, oh, I'm not going to get no traction as a Republican. So I'm going to go to the Democratic side because I'll get more traction there. These motherfuckers are all actors. They don't give a fuck. They just like the people at the corporate plantation. Will smile in your face all trying to take your place. And even if they not trying to take your place, they trying to shut you down, tear you apart. And a lot of these racial groups, they get off on that shit. They get off on the dominant white society giving them a pat on the head because to me, they are the biggest agents of the system. They're going to go in there and come around you and act like they cool with you and go back and report to they boss. Like, man, get the fuck away from them people. You know who they are.
And was arrested as a result of that. A lot more serious consequences could have happened from this event.
Yeah, a lot of other consequences could have happened from this event. But I see y'all ain't say shit, and I see y'all didn't shoot to kill them motherfuckers. But y'all definitely
Wednesday.
But y'all definitely was going at everybody else and fucking with everybody else. Man, please stop. I want to hear that shit. I want to hear that shit at all. I'm about to play the audio of the FBI director. Let's see what he's got to say. I really want to see what he had to say because this is the first time he listened to it. His name's Christopher Wray. This is supposed to be the FBI director. You already saw what happened with Comey. Look, let me tell you something. Before we even listen to a little bit of this audio, I'm gonna just put this shit out here right now. Go get this book, The Burglary. And that's gonna let you know everything you need to know about the goddamn FBI and all their antics and their anti-black racism and how they will uphold the system of racism and white supremacy. And they don't give a fuck about no niggas, especially, I'm telling you, especially black folk. And J. Edgar Hoover let it be known he didn't give a fuck about no black folk because he wrote it all down and made copies of it all over different FBI buildings all over the United States of America. It just, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that's where those white folks just happened to stand up on principle and do something that was beneficial to black folk. They didn't do no goddamn Jane Elliott and no 10 wives and my mom and my daddy and my boy. Man, I don't want to hear that shit. Nah. Nigga, what you plan on doing for black folk? I don't give a fuck about your books. You can write books all day. We don't need to read your books. We got enough black authors to tell us about anti-black racism. What do you plan on doing for us? You know, where the fuck is he at? Why he not talking about reparations? We already saw what Jane Elliott said. That's why ain't no other racial group gonna be for reparations. We gotta be for it. We gotta believe in it. Stop expecting. Don't allow your confidence to be held in the hands of the white dominant society or other racial groups. Because then now they control every aspect of your narrative. No, fuck that. Yeah, we want reparations. And who gives a fuck who it offends? Because I don't care, because I'm quick to be like, well, my people built this country. So there's a debt that needs to be paid. Services have not been rendered. Oh, the fuck well. And I'm gonna play a little bit of this audio and see what the fuck the director is talking about.
Whether they're calls for armed protests, potential threats that grow out of the January 6th breach of the Capitol, or other kinds of potential threats leading up to inaugural.
He's reading a paper. You're reading a paper. But they wasn't reading no paper when black folks was rioting and protesting. These thugs, they called us thugs. They had every name under the sun for us. But when white folks protest or riot and tear up shit, they never called them domestic terrorists. That was terrorism what they did. And then they was threatening to go to certain congressmen's houses and shit. Stop.
Other targets, so we're lashed up with all of our partners in that regard. When we talk about potential threats, we want to say a word or two about that. We are seeing an extensive amount of concerning online chatter, is the best about a number of events surrounding the inauguration. There's other targets, so we're lashed up with all of our partners in that regard. When we talk about potential threats, we want to say a word or two about that. We are seeing an extensive amount of concerning online chatter, I think is the best way I would describe it, about a number of events surrounding. With our partners, we evaluate those threats and what kind of resources to deploy against them. Right now, we're tracking calls for potential armed protests and activity leading up to the inauguration. And the reason I use the word potential is because one of the real challenges in this space is trying to distinguish what's aspirational versus what's intentional. We're concerned about the potential for violence at multiple protests and rallies planned here in D.C. and at state capitol buildings around the country in the days to come that could bring armed individuals within close proximity to government buildings and officials. As you can imagine, the amount of volume, the volume of information out there is significant, but we've been pushing that information as rapidly as.
Oh yeah, he full of shit. Here, let me read this. Wait a minute. With the attack on the Capitol last week, 5 people died over the past 9 months. 47 people have died with BML. First of all, I don't give a fuck about no BML and no Antifa. That's a bunch of bullshit. So I have no idea what the fuck you talking about. Whoever it is, you're probably trolling, which don't bother me. But I don't give a fuck about that. And I'm not comparing no bullshit to no Antifa. No, I'm not putting no name with faces. Because when you're dealing with a systematic problem like anti-black racism and racism white supremacy, there isn't one face. It's a team sport. So no, I'm not putting, and no, I'm not comparing apples to oranges, because if we want to compare apples to oranges, then we could talk about black folks building this country and all the black folks that were raped, robbed, pillaged, lynched, killed. So no, we're not doing all that. That to me, that's the problem. We're taking away from what the real issue. The real issue is, it isn't Donald Trump. The real issue is racism. That's what it is. It's anti-black racism. That's what it is. And when you're watching white folk do whatever the fuck they want, They get to pick their prisons and pick the times they want to go to the prison. And Ghislaine Maxwell, we don't know what the fuck she got going on. But when it comes to black folk, they putting all the dirty laundry out. Like as if we didn't know what Bill Cosby was on. If this shit happened 30 years ago, then why did they press charges 30 years ago? You know why? Because Bill Cosby wasn't in opposition of a lot of the bullshit that they have going on. Plus, they wanted a black sacrifice. Plus, it has been said that Bill Cosby lives on land that oil companies want. So now they want to get him out of the land, so they want to try to bleed him dry so he has to sell that property so oil companies can buy it. See, it's always some type of immoral bullshit going on. I'm going to tell you right now, man. Everybody needs to understand this shit. Racism is a team sport. So stop thinking that every other group is different from the dominant white society. No, every other racial group wants to be like them. That's why the Arabs come over here and identify as white. That's why the Latinos identify as white. That's why the Puerto Ricans, Puerto Ricans, I'm Puerto Rican. That's fine. If that's what you want to claim, and I got love for you. I've been around a lot of cool, solid Puerto Ricans, but a lot of Puerto Ricans, they get on them core plantation jobs and get to replicating white behavior and telling and dry snitching and playing all these bullshit games. So it's like, we got to stop thinking that every other racial group is for black folk. Black folk have to be for black folk. And you got to look at all the fuckery and call it out. And call it as you see it and stop going for the okie doke. You like, why, Warren? Why would you go for this bullshit? You notice all of a sudden, we're going to round up all these white people and they're going to be facing charges. Okay, let's see how many of them go to prison. Now, speaking of federal prison, why isn't Aunt Becky's husband in prison right now? Why? How bold are you to be like, low-key, I don't really want to go. So I'm requesting that I could just do my time at home and I'll just quarantine and just be at home because low-key COVID I just don't want to go to prison. Like, I'd just rather do it at home. How many niggas you think can get away with that? That's a fact. Man, stop it with the bullshit, man. Y'all niggas better wake the fuck up. Here, let me play some more.
Possible to all of our relevant law enforcement and intelligence partners. And if we find that an individual poses a violent threat, then we and our partners will take advantage of every lawful authority and method we've got to disrupt any attempt or attack. Our posture is aggressive, and it's going to stay that way through the inauguration. So in that vein, we and our partners have already arrested more than 100 individuals for their criminal activities in last week's siege of the Capitol and continue to pursue countless other related investigations. And those
babble, womp, deflection. Well, we're going to continue. See, what they're first of all, he's reading that because somebody probably just get up there and say something. Just get up there and say something because we don't want black folk looking how much we're giving them the protection because of their complexion. So you need to get up there and say something. So you just up there rambling and reading some notes and some shit that somebody probably put together for you, but are you going to make sure that they do jail time is what I want to know. That's what I want to know. And everybody needs to stop thinking that Joe Biden's a hero because he's like, black, not black folks, but people, the American people should get $2,000. Well, then why wasn't you pushing that shit when Donald Trump was in office? Why wasn't you coming out and be like, hey, man, the American people need $2,000. They don't need no $600. What can they do with that? Now you want to roll out this bullshit plan. Watch don't nobody get shit. Then when the economy tanked, they're going to blame it all on Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump's fault.
Help not only prevent those individuals from any effort to repeat that kind of activity, but also should serve as a very stern warning to anybody else who might be inclined to try to engage in that activity.
Man, what? It should be a strong warning. No, them being put in federal prison for committing federal crimes should be an example. Why don't y'all do to them what y'all do to niggas? You're not going to do that to them.
We're also taking other steps. The American people may not hear about every disruption in the media and may not see the FBI's hand in everything we do, but they should be confident that there's an awful lot of work all across the country going on behind the scenes, out of the spotlight, where we're feeding relevant information to all of our partners. So,
oh man, I can't. You just babbling now, brother. I can't. This motherfucker just running his mouth, reading some script. Stop. I don't want to hear that shit. Here, let me see what this chat say. You just got a subscriber. Yeah, but Democrats and Republicans, doesn't that sound like black and white people? We're always going to have racism until we only have one party, don't you think? Let me tell you this. This is just my perspective. Black folks should have their own solid moral representative of black people. And they should be in the best interest of black folks in the United States of America Incorporated. And let me tell you, I, along with any other black folk that are about black people, would never be allowed to represent white folk. Because the first thing white folks would say was, how could they be in the best interest of white folks when they're talking about black issues? So with that being said, no. Black folks need to have their own independent party of any other racial group. And it should be specifically for black issues. And when I mean black, I mean native black people, foundational black Americans. As Dr. Claude Anderson teaches, black folk are a special people who built this fucking country for free without repayment. So I don't believe in we should just all be one party. No, I believe white folk already have their parties. The Democrats and the Republicans are white folks' parties. Black folks need an independent party of Democrats and Republicans because they both been co-opted by white folk and have black folks doing their bidding. That's why you always got black folks talking about you gotta go there and vote. Go. And then when a nigga get to talking about, well, what are we gonna get for it? Oh, see, man, why you gotta get something, man? You know, your people died so you can vote. Well, my people was misinformed because we ain't getting shit. As Dr. Claude Anderson teaches, quid pro quo, something for something. Out of here, that's like me telling you to go work for free. You ain't gonna go work for free. You ain't doing no voluntary work. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Niggas talking about, volunteer my motherfucking ass, man. Stop. I seen an article about Bill Cosby living in land with oil about a year ago. Exactly. What's up, man? Hey, what's up, Screwhead? Happy New Year. Hey, yeah, man, everything is well. Hey, you see me, man? I'm still just doing this shit, man. I'm trying to be consistent. That's it. I ain't on here clout chasing. You already know how I get down. I don't do the clout chasing shit. So if y'all niggas think I'm finna be doing something spectacular so I get a whole bunch of followers, y'all kiss my black ass. I like it just like this. Oh, well, you don't want success. Yeah, I want success, but I want motherfuckers get my channel shut down and get my shit flagged. And man, fuck all that, man. I don't want none of that, and I don't want no fake, phony motherfuckers. Nah, I'm good. I like it just the way it is. It ain't that I'm afraid of success, but I want the right type of success. And I don't want a whole bunch of motherfuckers on my page that don't read, don't research, and don't understand what anti-black racism is about. I don't care what racial group you from, color, creed. If you are about replacing the system of racism, white supremacy, and establishing a system of justice, I'll fuck with you all day. But if you about, oh, well, I'm against racism, and I'm for establishing a system of justice. And then when I start talking about reparations, you'd be like, oh, well, I think reparations should be free college. And man, then get the fuck away from me. Because how could you tell me what should be a system of justice for black folk after we built this country? I don't want to hear that shit. Wow, man. I hope you don't have skeletons in your closet because it sounds like you can probably run for mayor. Nah, I ain't trying to run for no. I will vote for you. Nah, I ain't trying to. This motherfucker, whoever, Dusty Jarvis must be a. Man, I hope you ain't trolling, whoever that is. This nigga joking, whoever this fuck is. Nigga ain't trying to run for nigga, run for mayor? Do you know how many motherfuckers would play this fucking audio or play this video and be like, this the mayor you want to vote for? Man, please, I could never be no mayor in a system of racism and white supremacy. Stop. Nah. And see, people think when you speak up for equality for black folk that you hate other racial groups. Or you're racist. First of all, black folks cannot be racist. We don't own no ships, no cakes, no pies, no boats, no planes, no agriculture, no farms, no nothing. So how could we be racist? Because we can't hire or fire anyone in no major corporate plantation. Especially no Fortune 500. Ain't no black folks running no Fortune 500s. No, black folks are just the figureheads of their Lady Eloise's of Fortune 500s. Like ABC, how they fire Roseanne, that black woman fire Roseanne. Man, please, you just doing the bidding for the dominant white society. Roseanne will be all right. I don't know why motherfuckers was like, oh yeah, she fired Roseanne. Man, stop. Roseanne been saying fuck shit like that. What you see is what you get. Facts. I don't know, nigga. You ain't gonna ever look. Let me tell you something. Politics is all around you, whether you like it or not. But it's how you go about things and how you conduct yourself. You don't have to be like politicking in every shape, form, or fashion. But what you can do is respond to things and not react. And my thing is, if you're not trying to replace this wickedly brilliant system of racism, white supremacy, and all the foul, phony, fake, vile bullshit that goes along with it, then I don't really, what are we saying? Because a lot of people, they want to argue down about James Harden being traded to the Nets, and that's fine. But is that replacing the system of racism and white supremacy? That's why I can't even really get into sports the way I used to anyway. Not after studying and reading. Oh, nope, 100% serious. I'm about to say, I hope you ain't trolling, my brother, or Dusty Jars, whoever you are. I'm just telling you right now, we got to wake up, read. Hey, man, get the knowledge, man. Dr. Claude Anderson, Black History Reader. I got his library pack. I read 3 of his books. I'm telling you right now, go get The Fall of America. I think more, dominant white society people, go read this book. The Fall of America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Man, I can pull up so many things that he's saying here. I got how in the days of servitude and slavery of our grandparents, the white slave master did not even give them good food. Today, you can buy good food if you have the money. However, much of it is poisoned by chemicals used. The slave master would offer a piece of fried chicken and a biscuit with a little butter on it and so-called Negro as an inducement for him to teach or preach what the slave master wanted him to the other slaves on Sunday morning. The slaves did not have the theology of the scriptures, and he made his other brother's spirituality blind, deaf, and dumb. The same goes for the preachers of today. I just randomly turned to that page. Go read this book by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Go read it. Motherfuckers don't, look, let me tell you something. You can say whatever you want about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but you notice they never say he's a liar. They never say he's lying. They just always say he's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic. But they never say, dude, you're lying. Des is reading my copy of The Fall of America. I was so proud to see that. Hey, man, shout out to Desiree. I'm glad Desiree was reading The Fall of America. Hey, what's up, Wendy? I see you. I'm telling you right now, man, when you get on these court plantations, like I told that one story about my homegirl, I ain't gonna put her name and nothing on there. She was just pissed off. I said, hey, man, you should read the ISIS papers by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She was like, what's that? And I was like, man, I'm telling you, it helped me out a lot. Man, we talked about the ISIS papers for like 3 weeks straight. Straight up. We talked about that for 3 weeks straight. Let me tell you something, man. It's very imperative that we, as black folk, and any other racial group, I'm going to tell any other racial group, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, I'm going to tell you right now, it is not my job and it's not my people's job to explain to you what racism and white supremacy is. You know what it is. You partake in it. You treat us fucked up. You real quick to tell us to go back to Africa when we were here before. We're the original man. We was already here. You better go read They Came Before Columbus by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. Let me tell you something. It is very empowering to tell other racial groups facts and then give them a book with that. Woo, they don't like that. That's why they got me off Twitter so many times. I'm like, you need to go read The Fall of America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You need to go read They Came Before Columbus by Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. We were already here. We are the Native Americans. What the fuck are you talking about? We are the Seminoles, the Native Americans, all that shit. Stop playing the bullshit. That's why they try to separate them and give them the nigga trinkets and shit so they don't fuck with niggas. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. We gotta wake up. We gotta understand that those white folk that stormed the Capitol and did what they did, yeah, they're getting rounded up. Let's see how many of those people get jail time. That's one. And two, why are we not talking about Ghislaine Maxwell? That bitch had a pedophile ring going on. We ain't talking about her. Why are we not talking about Ghislaine Maxwell? Forgot about her, huh? Well, I didn't forget about the bitch. Why are we not talking about Casey Goodson Jr.? Huh? Why are we not talking about the brother that had a cell phone and got shot and killed in his garage? They just fired the police. Why they not pressing charges? They just fired him, but they're not pressing charges, though. He committed a murder. See, y'all need to remember these things, man. Because if you don't remember them and bring them up, motherfucker, let me tell you something about the dominant white side. They want to forget history, even if they don't even care about history. It's his story. They don't want you talking about history. That's why motherfuckers that's like, no, man, you know, we gotta not talk about the past. I'm always a firm believer, if you don't know your history, then how could you know where you're going? Without history, you don't know where you're going. If black folks didn't know that we were the Moors and we are the reason why there are, I would say, medicines, bricklaying, masonry, liberal arts, astrology, astronomy. If we don't know that we created that, let white folks tell it, they created all that shit. But since it's documented history that they didn't, you should know that you are a God. You are a God living a human experience. That's it. That's it. You are a God. Trust and believe you me. That's why melanated people can be in the sun and be activated by the sun. Don't let these people fool you. You just gotta understand that shit, man. Read, research, study. I'm excited. I got my books. I got some more books I gotta get, but right now I gotta order some Tahuti Ma'ara shit. Go check out ma'atraherbs.com. MAATRAHERBS. Go check out his shit. Very, very good herbs, and it's very, very affordable. Go check him out, man. And no, I'm not getting paid to promote nothing. It ain't about getting paid. I don't give a fuck about that shit. That's why I don't have no super chatter and I don't got no cash app, man. Fuck all that. It's about getting the knowledge. Hey, man, make sure you read, study as much as you possibly can. If you don't do nothing but read 5 minutes a day, that's better than not reading nothing at all. If you could be on your phone reading and you can pick up a book and read for 5 minutes, all you need is 5 minutes. 5-10 minutes and you good. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, man, if you know people that's on this shit, refer my channel to them. And we can all chop it up, pass ideas to each other, talk about books that we read. But if they not on that shit, please do not refer them to my channel. Because I don't have time to be dealing with motherfuckers that's on some bullshit, man. But I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. You already know what it is, study. Hey, man, if you on some bullshit and you ain't handling business and you are around a motherfucker that's bullshitting and sandboying and you ain't calling them out guilty, nigga, I'm out. Peace.